Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to speak about how to record a basic macro. So in order to record a basic macro, you need to go to the developer tab on the ribbon and then click on record macro. So this way you're able to record some actions and then play them back whenever you want. So as you can see here, I've got a dialog box that enables me to name the macro. So I can name it my macro, for example, and the naming of the macro has some restrictions. So for example, you cannot put a space on the name of the macro. So if I put a space here and click OK, you're gonna get this error here. The syntax of this name is not correct. So basically, you cannot put a space, you cannot put an exclamation mark, a $sign. So basically, there are some signs here on the keyboard that you cannot use. However, you can actually use an underscore if you want to. So I can name it my macro this way. And here you can assign a shortcut key. So it can be Control and any other key on the keyboard. And you can make it Control and Shift and N here, for example. Also, you have the option to store the macro either in this workbook, which is this workbook that is currently open here, that's called Book 1, or you can store it in a new workbook. So this way, if you click OK, a new workbook will be opened and the macro will be stored in that workbook. Or if you choose to store it in the personal macro workbook, this way it will be stored in a workbook called the personal macro workbook, and this enables you to have the macro available in each and every workbook that you open in Excel from now on. I'm just gonna choose to start in this workbook and I'm gonna click OK. So this way I've started recording the macro. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select cell A1 and type my name and then press enter, and then I'm gonna stop recording. So now I've recorded a macro, and all it does is that it puts my name in cell A1. Now to examine that macro, you can go under the developer tab here, you can go to macros, and here on my macro you can click on edit, and then you can have a look at the code of the recorded macro. You can also click on Alt and F11 on your keyboard, and here on module 1 here you will find the macro, and a module is basically a container for your macros. Think about it this way. We'll speak about it as well later on in the course. Okay, so we've recorded a macro and Excel VBA has just recorded our actions and transformed them into some code. So now I can actually delete here the contents of cell A1, and if I just go to macros again and here on my macro I click on run, the macro is going to run and it's going to put my name in cell A1. So as you can see here, Excel just repeated our actions again, and our actions here are to basically select cell A1, put my name in the cell, and then because when you press enter you go to the cell just below it, so here we've gone to cell A2 has been selected. And if you do not understand what this code does, do not worry. By the end of the course or even by the middle of the course, you'll be able to understand it perfectly fine. So don't worry about the code at the moment. Okay, one more thing I want to tell you as well is that if you need to save a workbook that contains a macro, so if I press Ctrl and S to save my workbook here, and here on Save As, if I click on Browse, you can see here I have the chance to save the workbook. You need to make sure to save it as an Excel macro enabled workbook. You cannot save it as an Excel workbook because a normal Excel workbook will not save a macro. One more thing I want to show you as well is how you can assign a macro to a button or a shape. So you can insert a simple button here by going to the insert button here under the developer tab and clicking on button, and here you have a button, and then if you click OK, the button will be inserted. So in order to assign the macro to that button, you can right click on the button itself and click on assign macro, and then assign your macro here that you recorded, called my macro for example, and then click OK, and then whenever you press that button the macro is gonna run. You can also do it with a shape, so you can insert any shape here, insert a shape, and then right click on it, assign macro, and assign the macro as well. And this works with any form control here under the developer tab on the insert button here, so you can insert any ActiveX or form control and then assign the macro to that control using the same way. And if you need to edit the text inside, so you can right click here, click on edit text, and you can edit the text as well. Okay, so that's it guys for recording a basic macro. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.